Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me, and I'm back. This is a brand new Tanjiro What If. What if Tanjiro had infinite stamina? And like y'all have seen, if y'all watched the last video, I'm kind of doing these in one shot, one part, and I kind of skip over some some extra things that, let's be honest, gets a little bit repetitive, involving some of the storyline stuff. But of course, I try to throw in a little bit of the story elements as well. But I like the more faster paced stuff. And honestly, if I go back to doing some Deku stuff or some Shield Hero stuff or some other stuff, I'll definitely lean into doing more fast paced stuff like this. Just because personally, I like them. I like it better, and I like doing things in one part. One shot is always like really nice to do things in. So, yeah, that's probably the direction I want to take this channel. And I bring this up from time to time where I try to switch things up. But, yeah, this is kind of the idea that I want to do. No more parts, ideally. But, yeah, I don't want to waste much more of your time, and I want to get right into it. So, let's get it. Tanjiro Kamado, well, he starts this life a little bit differently. Because normally he just goes through life just, the typical way he would go through life. Now, I will admit there's times when during his childhood and during certain things where he's like, damn, like, I'm not getting tired. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this. And it's kind of crazy to think that he's like, oh, I never get tired. Honestly, he even has a hard time sleeping because he doesn't feel fatigued ever and stuff like that. But eventually, well, he would really start understanding where this comes from. For some reason, it seems as if his body just doesn't really build up lactic acid, and also doesn't really build up that, the feeling of being tired or kind of, or even, stamina fatigued at all. And during this time, he's like, oh, this is crazy. I mean, I could do so many things without even feeling the kind of negative side of it. But something he keeps in mind is, like, he really has to keep himself to a certain degree, like a certain threshold, because if he just goes, all right, I'm gonna work out for 24 hours straight, right, and I'm gonna do this for 24 hours straight, his body feels the effects of it. He personally can't really tell, but his body feels the effects of it. So yes, he does have infinite stamina, but it starts feeling really bad depending on the circumstance. Now, this would lead us to obviously doing everything he normally does. He goes to the village, sees his goes home the next day, sees his family, tries to save his sister Nezuko, and then obviously the appearance of Giyu. And this appearance is a little different because Tanjiro doesn't get laid out as quick as normal. He's actually able to, like, keep up in terms of pace, like, somewhat, to a very, very, very holding back Giyu Tomioka. But at the same time, Giyu's like, whoa, okay, this kid is pretty damn impressive. So, well, I'm going to make sure that he goes off to Urokodaki and goes and gets the kind of like the help and the training he really needs and deserves. So that's what happens. He goes to Urokodaki with Nezuko. He gets help from Urokodaki. They slay their first demon, aka the temple demon, and they begin training. And this is when Urokodaki realizes, like, this kid's stamina, his ability to just train through everything, is ridiculous. So he starts making a plan for Tanjiro, so Tanjiro doesn't overwork himself or kind of put his body, like, in a bad spot. So he tells Tanjiro, like, this is what we're gonna work from here to here and then take a break, or then here to here and take a break, and then make sure that you get a certain amount of hours of sleep every single day. And these are things that Urokodaki has to put in place, but it doesn't change the fact that Tanjiro's ability to train is, like, way better, 2 times, 3 times maybe better than normal. Like, his ability to train, prepare himself, and really just, like, push himself further is ridiculous in terms of how good he ends up becoming. Same thing with training with Sabito Makomo. All that is the exact same. And all the way up to his final selection, or to the final selection, Tanjiro's training is way more fruitful. So much so that Urokodaki even starts putting forth like different kind of training regimens, because at the end of the day, he's like, okay, well, Tanjiro's already perfected this and perfected that. So he's like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make it so he starts learning this other technique or these other techniques so that they're not wasting time on the same things over and over again. So yeah, they learn all the water breathing techniques, obviously excluding the 11th form, which obviously Giyu Tomioka is the one that created that. So he's not going to learn that. But of course he does know like all of them, right? All of them 1 through 10, knows all of the techniques, knows how to utilize them as well to a high degree, and also already kind of figures out concentration breathing constant. Like he legitimately already learns this, especially with the fact that he doesn't really feel the effects of the breathing style as much because of his like infinite stamina. It makes it so him learning how to utilize concentration breathing constant is like a joke, like genuinely a joke in terms of how long it takes him to actually learn it. And it doesn't take him very long, like I'm saying. It is very, very, very quick. Now, this would lead him to the final selection, where this is where Tanjiro really shows off, because being that he has infinite stamina, he would legitimately be able to kill every demon that is within the forest. Like, we're talking every single one of them, and he makes it look pretty damn easy. I mean, everyone in the forest is kind of like, whoa, this is ridiculous. How is he able to do this? And what is even going on? I mean, this guy legitimately just slayed every demon that is in this forest, and somehow, some way, he did it without even taking a deep breath. This version of Tanjiro, he's not tired, he's not exhausted, he's not winded. He's completely fine, completely stable, and just relaxed doing all of this. And even Kanao and other demon slayers, they see this and they're thinking like, whoa, okay, what is this kid? And on top of that, Kanao decides that she really needs to get this information over to Shinobu and the other demon slayers, because no one's ever seen something like this. They've never seen like some guy be able to legitimately just pace out anybody and then not even break a sweat. The fact that he's not able or doesn't break a sweat at all during this entire circumstance makes everyone think like, whoa, okay, this is something. Like, this is something, because it makes no sense that someone that is just showed up out of nowhere would be able to just, oh yeah, I can just do whatever. I can just live. I can just breathe, like barely even have to breathe, so that I could defeat whoever, and I could do this, I could do that. And it's like, what the heck is going on? And everyone is very confused, but Tanjiro himself, yeah, he's not too confused, because he knows what's going on, at least to an extent. He knows that his strength is beyond a lot of people's kind of comprehension. And after he defeats the entirety of this forest during the final selection, he would get his Nichi ring or head back to Urokodaki, and then he would kind of prepare for his first mission. And his first mission, I mean, it's very straightforward, right? He has the Swamp Demon, and in terms of a technical sense, in terms of how good he is, just with his sword, he's pretty damn good, right? He's a lot better, but he still has like a little bit of like a learning curve to really take care of, in terms of, well, the Swamp Demon and any other really demon that comes out with some insane kind of blood demon art. And the ability to make portals and stuff does make things difficult, but since he has Nezuko really basically to help him out and take on this demon, it's not as difficult as you would think. And his ability to just outpace and not get tired and really keep up with what is the infinite stamina of a demon makes it that much easier to take down a demon that is, for the most part, trying their best to like legitimately stop Tanjiro from even continuing on here. But Tanjiro is able to defeat this Swamp Demon with his just raw ability, but also the fact that he's utilizing concentration breathing constant, and the fact that he doesn't get tired. He's just ridiculous in these type of fights, especially if a fight goes a little bit longer than normal, because he can just go at full pace the entire time. Now, his body definitely feels it, and he understands that after he's done doing something like that, he needs a bit of a rest, because if he doesn't take that rest, yeah, I mean, his body starts to really feel the effects. Even parts of his body, you know, kind of start shutting down and stuff like that. So he wants to make sure, like, all right, I need to make sure, like, I'm good. Like, I don't want to go too crazy and then get myself killed because I'm, like, overabundantly, like, destroying my body. So he defeats the Swamp Demon, and the Swamp Demon is not part of that category in terms of overwhelming himself. And most of the fights that he will go through isn't really a part of that category either, at least for the moments. Now, Tanjiro does head to the city that never sleeps after defeating the Swamp Demon and gets his first encounter with Muzan Kibutsuji. Now, with Muzan there, he is debating with himself, like, I want to, like, fight him, I want to strike him down, I want to do this, but eventually it would kind of force him, or Muzan would kind of force him to basically not do anything here, which he's thinking, like, this sucks, like, I want to fight Muzan, I want to take him down right now, I want to, like, get my get back for my family, like, I want to avenge my family, and that is what Tanjiro is thinking, but it's pretty obvious that nothing is that simple. Like, he can't just go and fight and go do this or that. He can't. And at the end of the day, that's the truth of it. So he wants to make sure, like, all right, I'm not going to go too crazy. I'm not going to go out of my way to try to end it right here and now, because you never know what could happen. So he decides to hold back, pull back, and just not do anything too outlandish, but also not do anything too insane, because you never know, right? He could get a lot of other people hurt, and this would lead him to eventually meeting with obviously Lede Tamayao and Yushiro, and this would be like a perfect timing thing for him, because he would be like, all right, at least I can get some information about my sister, about somehow getting her, you know, cured and stuff like that from these people or from these demons. And that's exactly the information he gets from Lede Tamayao and Yushiro. And this would eventually lead him to taking on Susumaru and Yahaba. But they really thrive off of this, like, surprise factor here. And with the help of Yushiro giving him that little tag so he can see things a lot better, and then the fact that he basically is able to outpace them to an extent, giving his absolute 110% the entire time. They even question, like, does this guy ever get tired? All he's doing is dodging, weaving, and getting out of the way of so many attacks, but he's not tired. He's not tiring, he's not slowing down, and he seems a lot stronger than some typical random B-list kind of demon slayer, and that's what they thought Tanjiro was. They thought for a long time here that that's what he was, but he's not. And he would with the help of course, Nezuko, Tamayao, or Lede Tamayao, and also Yushiro, that they were able to defeat Susumaru and Yahaba as a team effort. And honestly, Tanjiro finds ways to cut off their necks, and instead of doing some trickery any other way, defeating both of them in a clean sweep. And then obviously after talking about, you know, different ways to basically cure Nezuko, and that would obviously come up with the idea of, like, gotta get the blood of the 12 Kizuki. This would then send him off and Nezuko to the next location, but in between that location, he would meet up with Zenitsu. And Zenitsu would be crying, you know, whining, be like, oh, like, I don't want to go, I don't want to die, I don't want to do this. And Tanjiro's like, nah, you're coming with me, bro. Like, we're going to go fight some demons. We're going to go save some people. And that's exactly what they do in this mansion, in which Tanjiro is pretty confident about himself in terms of his ability right now when they get split up. But he's more worried about Zenitsu. He's like, okay, what is going on? And how can I help out? And how can I help him? But eventually he realizes, like, okay, well, I can't really worry about him when I got another person staring at me. So he knows that he's gonna have to defeat Kyogai, and that's exactly what Tanjiro plans on doing, a fight with Kyogai, or a former member of the 12 Kizuki. So he knows that the blood from this demon will be very, very important. But before that fight could even really ensue, this kid with a boar mask would show up out of nowhere, aka Inosuke would show up out of nowhere, right? Inosuke would show up and try to, like, you know, butt in on this fight, but would eventually kind of get sent away, forcing Tanjiro into a one-on-one. But as he begins the fight, and as as Kyogai tries to basically stall him out with moving the room and like, you know, turning various things and this and that. Well, it's pretty obvious that like Tanjiro's able to keep up that pace and make sure that he doesn't lose his footing. And eventually Tanjiro finds his way through, and eventually he finds his way to actually defeating Kyogai with actually the usage of one of the insane forms, or more like high level forms in the 9th form of the water, or his water breathing technique. And he utilizes this. He rushes around all around at insane speeds, and frankly it's a lot quicker and a lot better than normal because of, you know, his ability to utilize literally no stamina. And he kind of discombobulates Kyogai to the point where all he's seeing is these water circles, and this would then basically lead to him delivering a beautiful slash straight through the neck of Kyogai, defeating him. But before he's fully defeated and disintegrates, he stabs him so that they can get the blood of one of the 12, or one of the former 12 Kizuki, believing that this blood will be useful in curing Nezuko, and believing that they could actually save his little sister. And that right there is something that Tanjiro is wanting for no matter what. And after the defeat of Kyogai, Tanjiro helps out where he can in terms of finding Zenitsu, and helps where he can throughout the entirety of the place. And eventually they they go on to the very next area, or the very next place, where they take a bit of a time, or some time off, and Tanjiro gets some sleep and relaxes, and, you know, gets some downtime, gets some food and stuff like that, where he definitely needed it, because the last couple days it's just been straight going. He hasn't been able to keep up with his actual body's treatment, and luckily enough, he would basically get that chance right here and right now, which would be perfect, right? It would be perfect for Tanjiro to basically kind of get some rest when his body doesn't really tell him, hey, you gotta chill, like you gotta take a breath, because of his stamina being just flat out infinite. And at the end of the day, it is perfect for Tanjiro to get that chance, get that breath, and get that chance to like take a second and take a step back. Now, this would lead them to finding Mount Natagumo that same night, or that coming night, excuse me, and where they learn that there's a lot of demon slayers that are going missing out Mount Natagumo. Now, the reason for this is the spider demons that are up there, and the first thing they face off with is basically a bunch of demon slayer puppets, and they are able to handle them pretty easily. Like, it's not too difficult, but these demon slayers are then executed, and obviously that doesn't make Tanjiro very happy, and he just gives it his absolute all, finding the doll of the mother spider demon and defeating it extremely fast, and even finding the mother spider demon. But as he defeats her, and as, he would slice through her neck, he would realize that this spider demon isn't wanting to live anymore, utilizing one of his abilities, or one of his forms, to slice through the mother spider demon in a very calm, relaxed way, so that they don't feel the power, or they don't feel the pain that goes through the act of going to the afterlife. So that's what he does. He allows her to basically smoothly go on to the afterlife, not hurting her very much, and just pushing her off to that next world, because he believes that she does feel bad, but she feels like she has no choice in doing what she's doing, and he keeps that in mind. But before you know it, he is forced into a fight with the strongest demon that is here, being that of Rui. And this fight brings the most out of Tanjiro, because yes, he's giving it his absolute all, his literal everything. But in terms of just, power, strength, and all that stuff, it's not enough, right? It's not enough, because at the end of the day, he doesn't have enough technique and ability to really change the flow of the fight against someone like Rui, who is honestly on top of the fight pretty damn well. Now, he does do better. Like, he does a lot better than normal, but it doesn't change the fact that he's not strong enough to actually defeat Rui, and believes that if he just gets his chance to get stronger, that he can outclass Rui and so many more so easily, but he needs that chance. But he still does kind of break through the barrier of learning sun breathing, and aka the Hinokami Kagura, and this would lead him to having a good amount of success against Rui, or this not this upper demon, but this lower demon. Now, eventually the fight would come to a bit of a stalemate, leading to Giyu utilizing Dead Calm and defeating Rui as well. And Tanjiro watching this, he's like, whoa, this is insane. This is beautiful. And he thinks to himself that with his ability, he should be able to utilize that to a good degree. And he should be able to utilize it just like Giyu does. But it would have even less impact on his body and less impact on what he goes through. In which Tanjiro's like, that's something he needs to learn. And after Rui is defeated, he immediately asks you, like, you have to teach me that. I need to know how to do it, blah, blah, blah. But then out of nowhere, Kanao comes, like, just spiraling, and she's going to slice the neck off of Nezuko. Tanjiro jumps into action to protect her and goes head-to-head with Kanao. Now, it's a pretty impressive fight back and forth, but Tanjiro is mostly just trying to protect Nezuko. So the fact is, he's at a disadvantage. And that disadvantage has a lot to do with the fact that he's legitimately trying to protect somebody and not trying to just win the fight, right? That's a big difference and a big thing at the end of the day. And let's just be honest. It's just the reality of it is the fact that it's just you don't know, right? You don't know exactly the outcome of a fight like this, especially when it's not like Kanao is playing on the same playing field as Tanjiro. Tanjiro is legitimately trying to protect somebody, while Kanao is just trying to defeat them or end, well, the demon. Now, with that said, it would lead to him getting knocked out and brought in front of all the rest of the Hashira. Now, the Hashira themselves, they question him, they do all that stuff, and it goes exactly the same way, exactly the normal way. But Kanao does bring up the fact that Tanjiro is different than other Demon Slayers. And obviously it gets brought up through Shinobu, and Shinobu brings it up saying that he can be a real asset. Like, he can be a really, really, really strong asset because he doesn't get tired. And everyone's like, oh yeah, haha, he doesn't get tired. But yeah, they're serious. And they tell him, okay, how about this? This is what we're going to do. So-called you don't get tired. The first training session you do will be today. You're going to do kind of like every training regimen you can think of that a Hashira is going to force you into. And it's going to be a 19-hour process in which Tanjiro's like, you're insane. Like, are you sure about this? Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, this is the only way that we're going to know for sure, on top of already having Giyu's and Urakodaki's backing, right? And yes, Ubuyashiki's like, no, he doesn't need to do that, blah, blah, blah. And they kind of come to the conclusion that he doesn't need to, but Tanjiro insists, saying that that's what he'll do for his training, because in terms of rehabilitation, he's not very hurt. Like, he did pretty damn well in these fights, and he's not very hurt, but he also says that after he does this, after he is able to do this and show them that it's proof that he's not tired, he has infinite stamina, or like, some insane stamina, he wants to learn Dead, that final form, that 11th form from Giyu in terms of water breathing, in which this would eventually lead to them agreeing with it and agreeing that, like, okay, fine, like, you can learn that, right? And it seems as if Tanjiro's like, all right, sounds good. And he goes through literally 19 hours straight of some of the most insane training you can think of. But after all that time, after, the end of it, it seems as if they realize that it's all right. That Tanjiro legitimately does not get tired. That he has no stamina in a way, or he has infinite stamina in a way. And they're shocked. They're like, this makes no freaking sense. Like, we don't understand how it makes sense or how it happened, but he doesn't get tired. He's fine. He's uppity. He's like moving. He's feeling good. It seems as if there's a lot of question marks in terms of Tanjiro, because it's like, how did he do that? How did he even do that? How, like, it doesn't really make sense. But Tanjiro's like, look, I've been like this all my life. I still gotta sleep, I still gotta rest and stuff like that, but I don't feel the initial like kind of issues in terms of stamina, in which they're like, this is ridiculous. But at the same time, making him go through this training not only proved what they were thinking, but also made him a good bit stronger, because they tried to test him. They tried to do everything that a Hashira would force someone to do, push him to his limits, and nothing broke him. Tanjiro is a different freaking beast, and he proved that the entire time. And eventually he starts training with everyone else and stuff like that, but he also trains with Giyu to learn Dead Calm, believing that whatever kind of negatives that it has, aka lowering one's heartbeat, will only benefit him in the long run, making it so he doesn't really have the issue that, or the same issue that Giyu would have. And that's exactly what happens. He learns Dead Calm during this like kind of portion of just training, and he basically trains like 15 hours a day, like ridiculous, and train, sleep, or train, eat, sleep. That's all he's doing every time, the entire time. So he's preparing himself for true war. He's preparing himself for that next step. And well, thank goodness he was doing it, because when he heads to the Mugen train, I mean, he's more than prepared to deal with someone like Enmu. And the fact is, putting him to sleep isn't actually as easy, and it seems like his body refuses to actually go to sleep under his own free will. So it's kind of like, yes, they did mess with him, and it's kind of like a magic spell in a way to put him to sleep, but his stamina is making it so he refuses to actually fall asleep. And Tanjiro, he notices this and goes right after where Enmu would be, and he's able to take Enmu down very easily, actually showing off his, well, technique, Dead Calm. He shows off Dead Calm, which is pretty damn impressive in fact, that he can actually utilize it in such a way. But he basically utilizes the 11th form, and immediately it's obvious that Enmu has no idea what to do. Like, legitimately has no idea what to do. And it seems like he can't really tell what the hell's going on, because it seems that Tanjiro's body and his movements like just cease. And he's like entering this complete state of tranquility. He's deflecting, blocking, and cutting all, like, any incoming attacks with like the most insane speed and perfect blade. And at the same time, it really shows that, like, whoa, this is not good. Like, what is going on? I did not think this guy was this strong. And eventually, yeah, it would be just that. Tanjiro would defeat Enmu and would be able to save the entire train a lot sooner than normal, and wouldn't even need the help of Inosuke. But the thing is, this is not the only fight they're going to have to deal with, because at the end of the day, well, it seems as if they're actually coming up to, well, Akaza as well. And Akaza goes to war against Rengoku, and Tanjiro doesn't even fight within it at the words of Rengoku. But as the fight would come to an end, right, as the fight is coming to its climax, Tanjiro sees an opening that was granted by Rengoku. So what he does, he utilizes a different version of Dead Calm, an offensive version. As he utilizes Dead Calm, he immediately would just appear behind Akaza without really any trace. And in doing so, he's basically moved in position to unleash a barrage of attacks. And he goes to slash through the neck of Akaza. But as he does this, Akaza is able to block and kind of stall himself out so that he could, for the most part, like, not not get hit with a fatal attack, but in doing so, it allows Rengoku to get out of harm's way and go more on the offensive to put Akaza on the back foot. Tanjiro's little attack, yes, it was a one kind of hit wonder here, trying to end the fight right then and there, but it gave Rengoku enough time to get out of the way, get out of harm's way, and not lose his life in a situation like this. So surprise, surprise, yes, Akaza is not defeated, but Rengoku isn't either. And it seems as if Tanjiro has upped his game another freaking level. And it seems like he continues to do so when he proves that he could go one-on-one as well with other demons too. Now, or at least higher ranked demons as well. Now, he does head back. And they do have a conversation about, yeah, should he be a Hashira? He defeated technically like a demon from the 12 Kizuki. But they're like, well, he's a water breather, right? That's what he is. He's like Gyu. So we can't really have two water breathing Hashiras, in which Rengoku would step in and say, he's not a water breather. He truly is a sun breather, but he needs to figure out his way. So give him more time, and I'm sure there's a lot more upper, lower, or whatever demons that are going to face him and fall victim just like Enmu. And this is when Rengoku would help Tanjiro, obviously after the whole fight with Akaza, stuff like that, head back to his home because they want to find out more about sun breathing and stuff like that. And he finds out a ton. Like, they legitimately find a ton more information, and they get a lot more training done with sun breathing, leading to Tanjiro kind of making his way through various versions of sun breathing, different techniques, and also different things as well. And like I said, his training regimen is ridiculous because of his ability to not need stamina, or his ability to have an infinite amount of stamina. Now, this would still lead him to, helping out with Tengen and stuff like that, going to the entertainment district. But his first face-off with Daki is a lot different because, yes, he is pretty damn powerful, is pretty damn strong, and can keep up to a really, really high degree. But when we get towards the climax of their fight, he awakens his actual Demon Slayer mark, and this is where the fight flips on its head beyond comprehension, because Tanjiro's power skyrockets, and his ability to maintain the Demon Slayer mark is at an all-time high. Like, he literally doesn't have to let it go because of his infinite stamina. Plus, this is do or die. He doesn't give an F about the repercussions of his body as long as they defeat what is in front of them. And Tanjiro would find the neck of Daki and defeat her just like that, but would learn that she's not the only one there, because someone else would show up out of the body of Daki and attack Tanjiro with a scythe. But luckily enough, a kind of evolved version of Nezuko would come out of nowhere and save him just in time for him not to get, really hurt. But with the arrival of Inosuke, Tengen, and also Zenitsu, the fight then makes its kind of evens out. Let's just say that, right? The fight itself begins to even out, but Tanjiro still has a very, very, very high level that he is peaking at right now. And on top of that, he's been working with sun breathing to even kind of come up with a combination of dead calm and sun breathing, or the Hinokami Kagura as well. And this would make things a lot more difficult for Gyutaro and Daki respectively, but really Gyutaro specifically, because Tanjiro is a part of this fight and does a lot better. On top of that, Tengen isn't poisoned. He doesn't get poisoned, so that fight is a lot stronger, a lot better. Obviously, Nezuko is helping with Daki, being that she has now evolved her strengths and stuff like that too, as a demon, and her blood demon arts. Zenitsu and Inosuke would be stronger at this point because of the training partner they have in Tanjiro. How much kind of progression Tanjiro has made throughout this time. So it would be inevitable that Daki and Gyutaro would fall to Tengen, Tanjiro, Inosuke, Zenitsu, and also Nezuko, obviously. And it would be an inevitable fact that they would be defeated. And Tanjiro, well, at this point, they would look at him as the same level as a Hashira. Like, they would be like, okay, now I think we can make it official. Tanjiro Kamado is the sun-breathing Hashira, right? That is what he is now. And they're like, whoa, okay. Some of them they agree, some of them disagree. But Tanjiro says, like, he's still here to learn, get better, get stronger, and all the above. He knows he can. He knows he can get better. He knows he can get stronger. And he knows he can just level his game up. And they tell him, look, we want you to do that. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to send you to the Swordsmith's Village. We're going to have you train over there, get a better sword, get, recovered, whatever you need to do. And then we're going to kind of see where you're at in terms of capabilities. And, well, what they weren't thinking is that this little test to get stronger and better, well, it's not that simple, right? Because he faces off with Mushiro to start with, where Mushiro's like trying to fight him and stuff like that. And Tanjiro's actually able to keep up and actually fight back. And Mushiro gets a little bit of like a, you know what? I understand it. I get you. You know what? Like, I can see why they would want you to be a Hashira. Like, you are no joke. You are no joke. And on top of that, he trains with the Yurichi Type 0, getting better, training with, like, day in and day out as much as possible. But eventually, demons would show up, and that would shock everybody, thinking that this place is under key, under lock and key, under wraps entirely. So the fact that they showed up is ridiculous. But luckily enough, Tanjiro was able to help out with Hantengu, every form of Hantengu, in fact, because just him being able to stall out the fight would be very easy for him, because his stamina is ridiculous. So he's working at 100% the entire time, the entire time. And Hantengu's like, what the hell? Like, this guy just doesn't slow down. How is he not slowing down? This makes no sense. And yes, it would be a long, drawn-out fight, just like normal. But Tanjiro obviously would have a lot better kind of situation and a lot better performance here, even leading him to kind of figuring out what's going on with like the demon that is within the demon, like the little version of Hantengu. And Tanjiro was able to figure this out utilizing a combined version of Dead Calm, or the water breathing 11th form, and also sun breathing, to basically attack and surprise that little version of Hantengu, slicing the neck off of that version of him very quickly, like very, very quickly. But the issue is the fight was so quick, or a lot quicker than normal, that, well, let's just say Nezuko actually doesn't even get a chance to quote unquote conquer the sun. And the fact is, the idea of her conquering the sun never came up in their heads personally. And all they are doing is pushing towards getting her cured, right? Get her cured, get her this, get her that. And this would lead to Muzan not even knowing what's going on. Like, he has no idea that Nezuko actually is, immune to the sun, and has no idea anything like that. All he does know is he lost some of the strongest demons he's had or has ever, and believes that, like, this Tanjiro guy needs to go, like, ASAP. So the Infinity Castle may not actually occur, but a fight between Akaza and Tanjiro will, because Tanjiro himself would be out doing his, normal, like, mission, daily mission, whatever he's doing to kind of, help out, train and stuff like that. And someone would come knocking. Someone would walk up beside him and tell him to get his sword up, to look at him in his straight face and fight, because he's not going to kill a man that's looking away and not ready for a scrap and not ready for a fight. And Akaza and Tanjiro would face off with each other, and they would go head to head. But Giyu and Rengoku would hear about this, and they would be thinking they need to get to Tanjiro now. Like, now. Tanjiro goes head to head with Akaza, clashing and slashing and bashing each other back and forth. And Tanjiro obviously utilizing his Demon Slayer mark, but also continuing his growth in general and utilizing dead calm, a combination of dead calm and like the sun breathing, right, style of it. And Akaza, he's happy. He's like, wow, this is ridiculous. He's able to do this. Like he would be the perfect training partner. He might even be stronger than me if he becomes a demon. This would be amazing. And he's thinking to himself that, oh, this is all he ever wanted. This is all he ever needed. And as well, Rengoku and Giyu are basically about to arrive or close to arriving, Tanjiro would see them in the distance, and he would basically sling his sword at Akaza to get him to stop, and he tells him to stop now. And Akaza's like, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, I'll give you 10 seconds to figure out what the hell is happening. And he tells Akaza that he has 2 other Hashira on the way. He can see them, he can sense them, but he doesn't want this. And he tells Akaza to not strike them, and they will not strike you, because this is different now. He knows the type of person Akaza is, and he knows what he's about. So today is when a true upper moon, one of the strongest of them all, will lose, but he will not lose via some sort of fight among multiple, right? And Akaza hears this and he's like, whoa, this is insane. No way you're saying these things. But he's saying these things because he sees something. He understands something. He tells Rengoku and Giyu to stand there, and this is his fight. And they both listen. They both oblige, because it seems like Tanjiro really has figured something out. He goes into dead calm once again, and he utilizes sun breathing just like normal. But this time around, Akaza has no clue, because he can't feel it, he can't sense it, and he can't even smell it, because Tanjiro would appear out of nowhere, slice his neck off, and he would be in shock. His head would clatter on the ground, and he would look. How did he do that? I don't get it. And he realizes Tanjiro figured it out. He realized that he goes all based off of the senses, sensing the killing intent that Tanjiro was giving off. Tanjiro realized that if he leaned into what Akaza wanted, leaned into the idea of wanting the fight himself, but not for the sake of the kill, but for the sake of the sport, it would make him question things and make the senses a lot duller, and make it so it seemed as Tanjiro was not a threat. Akaza's body, it would begin to move, but it would move out of instinct, but then it would stop. Akaza himself would realize he lost, and he lost a fair fight, something that he will never live down, and something he can't even look at Muzan or any other demon for ever. So he refuses the evolution, and he watches his own body disintegrate as he goes with it to the loved ones he lost in the past. But the thing is, just because you defeated this demon doesn't mean you could defeat the rest. But Tanjiro knows that the eventual defeat of the other demons, well, it will happen. It might not happen with him, it might not happen with others, but Muzan knows that he is outnumbered, he is outclassed, and he's going to fall behind. And what he doesn't know as well is that Nezuko was the way for him to truly emerge victorious, but now he's scared. He hides because he doesn't want to seek the one that reminds him so much of Yorichi. So Muzan goes hiding once again, staying away. And for a while, they're quiet. Nothing is showing. But what Muzan doesn't understand is that just because Tanjiro Kamado may disappear and die of age one day, doesn't mean that someone just like him won't show up. Because Tanjiro, as he grows up and gets older, and as the demons quiet down just a little bit, he settles down, has a kid, and that kid is more special than any version of Tanjiro you can imagine, and he has every single bit of benefit that Tanjiro had while a demon slayer, but every bit of potential as well that Kanao had too. So yes, they may have not defeated Muzan and the demons in their age, but they will defeat them in the coming age. Because yes, they looked at this like this was their opportunity, but the demons, they had not enough pride to stick out their necks and keep fighting. The demons ran, hid, and waited for an opportunity so that would benefit them. But what they don't know is that the longer they wait, the less things will benefit them, and the new generation will bring things to them that they couldn't even imagine. But that story is for another time and may never be told. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. All that good stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I know this is a little different. Normally I go like 1 for 1. We're going into the Infinity Castle and stuff like that. I decided to do things a little differently. I know it is a little different. You're probably like, I wanted to see the Infinity. I wanted to see the full ending of the demons. But I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do it this way. So that's what I decided to do. If you disliked it, I'm sorry. I mean, obviously, I'm going to change up the story, keep myself entertained from time to time. But I hope you guys enjoyed nonetheless. I hope you guys did. If you did, show some love, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. All that good stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.